Especially special thanks to the committee members who were here. Ruby Weiland, Charlotte Christensen, Crystal and Byron Kirkpatrick, John and Martha Teddy, thank God for John, and Richard Healy and the Church Council. Let's thank them all, please. And again, of course, a special thanks to First Pres for allowing us to have this facility to be here tonight. We'd like to take this opportunity to introduce some special guests. It is my pleasure to introduce my partner, Peg Harper, who is here this evening. She is the resident social Lutheran. Just like at her church, I'm the resident social Episcopalian. And at the head table today, we have obviously Marilyn and David, and their special guests, Evelyn and Ed Keenan, who are the pastor's sister and brother. Also with us today are Larry Dolan, Thriven's financial representative, Ms. Mo McClay, pastoral friend and member, Mary Beth and Bill Morris, Mary Beth of whom we couldn't live without. And Tina and Genosa, our sexton, and her guest, Joanne Angelino. Okay, this is my opportunity to have a little fun. They call this is your time. This is your life. This is your uh-oh, she said when Paul agreed to see this thing. So we had a little fun, and we took them out to dinner the other night and had a wonderful time. And David was really full of some good stories, I'll tell you. He gave us all the dish, some of the dish of which you saw outside. I hope you stopped and saw it. Got some serious skid marks on this thing. Would you like to hear the story that goes behind it?
Yes. Sure will.
Yes. Well, it turns out that for a while they had some little scooter jobs. They didn't go much more than most of our golf courts go, you know, about 25 miles an hour. But they kind of outgrew them, I guess, and decided to move up a little bit. So they went out and they got some, what do they call it? Vespas. Vespas. There you go. And these little babies are street legal. So they took them out on the street. So one night they're going out, and they're not going very far, and Marilyn says to David, I don't think I'm going to bring my helmet tonight. Yeah, we're not going that far. What could possibly happen? Well, you see, it goes like this. They're cruising down the road, and a couple of kids in a car are on their side, and they need to make a turn. So they step on the gas, cut across the front. Now Marilyn is following David. David hits the brakes. Marilyn hit the brakes just a little slower. Hit the back end of David's Vespa. And launch control took over. She was up, over, and on the ground and into the curb. The kids did stop, but their reaction was, did you see that? She flew just like in the movies. Yeah, well, she flew just like in the movies, all right. She had the worst case of road burn you'd ever want to see. David had a broken ankle and some gashes and some lovely things like that. In fact, he was saying that basically the blood was kind of like running down his leg. So they get to the emergency room and they, you know how emergency rooms are. You sit, you sit, you sit, and David's bleeding all over before they finally saw him. But he had talked to his mother. And he said, we had a little accident, it really wasn't anything too serious.
He said a little spill.
Just a little spill, you know, just a little spill. So yeah, when they saw them the next time, and she got a load of just how destroyed Marilyn was all up and down her body, and said, well, a little spill, eh? Mm-hmm. So that's what happened with the helmet. If you saw the helmet, imagine just, you know, what she must have looked like with all the scratches and scrapes and tears and all of that jazz. Not a mark on her head, though, she says. Oh, they totaled the Vespas. So anyway, they put a claim in with the insurance company. And the insurance company took care of everything. And they did think better of getting replacement Vespas. We are so grateful for that.
Yeah.
We certainly are. As you probably all notice from time to time, when some of you may, because the ones who sit closer to the piano and the organ, will see me going back and forth between the piano and the organ, and I've always got my hands on an iPad. And you may or may not know what exactly that is the purpose of. We are able to control the sound system with the iPad. We're able to turn up the volume on the mics. We're able to turn down the volume on the mics. We're able to record the service, and we're able to edit as we go, so that if somebody takes home a copy of the CD, and we only have 80 minutes of space on the CD to record, we'll edit out the communion hymns and stuff like that. There is, however, one very important reason why we have the iPad up there. It has mute buttons for all the mics. So occasionally, as we start the opening hymn, and Marilyn is coming up the aisle, Paul is playing with one hand like this, and on the other hand, he's looking for the mute button. Because it's, you know, just, it's okay that she sings, but not into the microphone and everybody else. We did, however, one of those time change seasons, find somebody whose key she can sing in, and that would be C.J. Clark. Because they did the time change song together, and I did not accompany it. We figured, you know, we'll just let them sing. It's safer that way. If we have to move the pitch up and down so that, you know, Marilyn can get most of the notes, CJ can do that. And it really worked out lovely. It really did. So we're thinking of doing something a little bit later on, like on her last Sunday. And we're probably going to do the same kind of thing. Have her sing with CJ, and I just won't play, because it'll be safer that way. Then there's the knitting. Oh yeah, the knitting. It was a great idea to start the Prayerful Stitchers. The primary reason, no, that's not true. One of the things that Marilyn benefited from by having the Prayerful Stitchers was that she had a collection of knitters around, at least once a month anyway, who could help fix things. Peg would come with me, well, Peg would come to the Prayerful Stitchers, and I would go with her early for choir, which was nice because then I could actually figure out what the choir was going to sing on Sunday. But she was making Christmas stockings for some of the grandkids. And thank goodness they don't wear the Christmas stockings. Because she was trying to turn the heel, okay, to get and do the foot. And as it turned out, she turned left instead of right. So that the foot would have gone this way. Yeah, that would have been a really good. But Peg got it all straightened out, and the Christmas stockings turned out marvelously. So we're grateful for that. But I did hear that somebody in my choir has decided to help her with crocheting now. God bless you. Although she did let everybody know, this was a Wednesday night when we were talking about the crocheting. And she did let everybody know that I am the official yarn roller. If you need your skeins put into balls of yarn, just let me know. I have been doing it since I was 4 years old. So, Marilyn and David met online. I was wondering if it was that website, JDate, Jewish people. Turns out it wasn't that one, but Marilyn did say it's IneedAManNow.com. And so she went on IneedAManNow.com and found David, who wasn't looking for a man now. I didn't get the story about their first date, so I'm guessing it may have been incredibly ordinary. No. You'll have to ask him about the first date. Second date, however, was really a lot of fun. Marilyn has a need for speed, hence the launching off the back of the Vespa. But also, jet skis. Okay? Picture that. Marilyn is driving the jet ski, David is on it behind her. They should have gotten two. But nonetheless, no, David says. He's riding on the back and Marilyn is driving the jet ski and they take off. Oh, do they take off. David is screaming in the back of the jet ski when she floors it and takes off. And I mean, the front end probably went up like this, you know. So they're bombing around the lake, and it's starting to get late, and it's getting to be time to go back. And so she makes this nice wide circular turn to get back to the place where they started, I guess. And she didn't slow down exactly. Both of them ended up in water. So the jet ski keeps going at least for a little while longer. And they have to swim back to the jet ski. As David asked, what are we going to do now? She says, we're swimming because the jet ski is not coming back to us.
We gotta get up on that.
All right. So they try to get back on the jet ski, and David does get back on the jet ski, but Marilyn has no upper body strength. So she can't pull herself back up on the jet ski. There's only... She said she was laughing too hard. At any rate, there's only one option left. Body surfing! Marilyn holds onto the back of the jet ski, and David tows her back. Not at full throttle, which would have been fun to watch. But David tows her back to the island where the place where they had taken off.
Never had to tow me.
Well, her friends were not exactly enamored with David in the first place. And so they were out late, and, you know, they're towing him, he's towing her back on the jet ski. And in the meantime, it was getting late, and they said, well, we better go out on the boat and try to find them. Did they find you, or?
Yeah, they thought he...
Well, they saw me, but they didn't see her.
They saw David, but they didn't see Marilyn. She was going like this in the back of the jet ski. I guess all's well that ends well, because they did end up getting married in the end. And she survived all of these flyings and divings and stuff so that she could come and be our pastor for a little while. She also had a Mini Cooper. I love Mini Coopers. I had a base model Mini Cooper. Marilyn wanted more speed. She got the S model Mini Cooper. 175-ish horsepower. She's going to make that baby fly. So anyway, she's doing a wedding. And she's at the wedding rehearsal, or she's meeting with the couple or with the party. And she's coming back from that meeting on a mountain. On a mountain with roads that kind of go like this and like that. You know, the fun kind of mountain to drive on in a Mini Cooper. I'd have had a blast. I'd have probably been going too fast too. It was a convertible Mini Cooper. And the top was down, and you wanted to put the top down. She wanted to put the top down, but she had papers on the seat next to her. So she decided she's going to put the papers on the floor first before she puts the top down. Didn't pull over. Heck no. Grab the papers, she's trying to put them down onto the seat so that they won't fly away when the top goes down. She loses track of what's going on in front of her. Car starts going like this. She loses track. There's grass over here, not a lot of it, and then there's a cliff. Again, fortunately, she's here with us today so we can celebrate her retirement. She hits the grass, she realizes she's not on the road, she overcorrects. Well, there's a mountain on this side of the road, okay? So she overcorrects again, she ends up back in the grass, and it kind of goes like this for a little while. Finally, she didn't get the car up on two wheels, like tipping it over to the side from all this correcting. But somehow she did manage the car to get off all four wheels and turn around and land in the grass really hard. So fortunately she's okay, and by that time the wedding party is coming down the hill. So they see her off on the side of the road. She gets the car home, and David is trying to get the grass out from between the wheel and the tire, you know, where it's mounted up in there. It was in there so tight. The only way to get the grass out was take the wheels off and have them remounted. It was just, pliers weren't going to do it, nothing was going to do it, you know, short of destroying everything by trying to tear it out with something else. Just unmount them, remount them, and everything was good from there. God bless you. She went fast. She loves fast. Like I said, I understand. Y'all know I've got a red Camaro, and before that I had a gray Camaro. I like fast too. Yeah, she wants to go for a ride in a fast Camaro. That ought to be good. Yeah, she wants to drive the fast Camaro. I don't know if that's going to happen. I've heard the stories. So really, you know, she was kind of nervous about this when I decided to accept the challenge of being the MC for tonight, and I'm really glad I did because we have a pretty special relationship. In fact, we have such a special relationship. I'm the only one that when her microphone isn't working up on the altar on Sunday morning, I get to stick my hand all the way down to the album and find the thing and get the thing fixed. That was a sight for some of you who were here that week. But no, seriously, we've really had a good time working together. And I don't want to say if it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't be here, but that's probably true because we kind of dated for about 2 years before we finally decided to tie the knot and work together for real. You know, she kind of teased me and teased me and teased me about the fact that
She and I only dated for 13 days.
Well, we dated for 13 days before they got married, so yeah, 2 years must be a record for her. Yeah, when you have a husband, you got to take your time. But anyway, you know, when I started doing funerals at your church, covering every now and again, and you know, she would talk to me, and then I did a funeral, and I think one of the members of the council was at it at the time, and basically said, can we keep him? Is he available? And he was kind of available. He was working in Canada at the time, and you know, they thought I was their regular organist, but we really hadn't reached that point yet. And so when the opportunity finally came along and she said, do you want to do this? I said, yeah, sure, let's do this. Less than 3 years later, she leaves. I've had this problem before. I told you this when I told you I was going to stay. I was at another church, pastor decided to hire me. 4 years later, she decides she's going to retire too. But, yeah, we'll figure this out. We'll get through it all together. And then we'll have somebody else to drive away.
He keeps blaming me.
Yes, it's all David's fault. David wants her home more. David wants her around so they can travel. David, be careful what you wish for. Don't let her drive. She does, however, want to take lessons, or whatever they call them, training, so that she can drive the RV, just in case something happens. Yeah, we'll see when that happens. Oh yeah, they must have RV races someplace. Sure.